So Mendus in particular, who was my mentor at York, British Academy mentor at York, has been instrumental in supporting a whole range of things that I've done, often thanklessly, often without reason sometimes. But so it's very important that I, just on a personal level, I'm incredibly grateful for all that you've done for me. And I suppose it's just an opportunity for you to explain the British Academy.
Yeah, okay. Well,
to people.
Thank you, Matthew. It's very nice to be here, first of all, and I really appreciate the invitation. I didn't appreciate it last night when my train arrived 5 hours late from, I left York at 4:30, what time? No, 4:45, and at 20 to 8 I was in Leeds, which is 20 miles away. Yeah, it was tremendous, really. And at that point, I rang my husband. I said, "I'm turning back. I mean, it's just hopeless." And they wouldn't open the train doors. So I mean, don't kid yourselves. I'm not here because at that stage I wished to be. I'm here because they wouldn't open the doors for us. Anyway, when I've had a few drinks after dinner, I give you the full Technicolor delight of Transpennine travel on a Friday evening, when the bar started off completely full and was drunk dry before we got to Manchester Piccadilly. Let's not go there. But it is now very, very nice. Now, particularly nice to be here, and the sun is shining, and I very much look for. But they can't get in. Oh, sorry. Hello. So Matthew's asked me to say something about the British Academy, which is sponsoring this conference. So I'll just say something quite briefly, and because it gets boring otherwise. The British Academy is a fellowship of something around 1,000 senior academics in the humanities and social sciences in Britain. It has the same kind of status amongst the humanities and social science disciplines as the Royal Society has amongst science subjects. And which is to say it's an autonomous body with a charitable status, and it supports research in the humanities and social science, and tries to raise the profile of the humanities and social sciences across the country. So the British Academy has fellows in and interests in archaeology, art history, sociology, economics, psychology, across the entire range, receives around £30 million a year in government grants for the support of research. And that money is spent in three main ways. Firstly, promoting humanities and social science, because as many of you will probably appreciate, if you're working in biology or in physics and you're going to find out the meaning of everything or a cure for cancer or something, people don't need persuading about the importance of what you're doing. But if you work on medieval literature or Sanskrit texts or modal logic, the British public don't necessarily wish to support those kinds of things and don't see the value of them. And that's, to put it mildly, a pity. That's wrong. So a very important role of the British Academy is to try in various ways to support research in humanities and social science, and in particular to champion those disciplines as ones that are valuable for society as a whole, for the economic well-being, for the cultural well-being, and indeed for our own self-understanding. These disciplines help us to understand who we are and where we came from. That promotion, it takes various forms. There are often, because the location of the British Academy is in London, in Carlton House Terrace, in what was Gladstone's house when he was Foreign Secretary. Because it's there, a very big part of the Academy's work involves going over to Westminster and reminding members of Parliament of the importance of research in these disciplines and informing policy making. the Academy also puts on a huge programme of events, of talks and workshops, seminars, conferences in London and in the country more widely. And if you're there and you have the time, do try to get along. But really probably the most important part of the Academy's work is funding early career researchers through, as Matthew said, through postdoctoral fellowships, which are 3 years long and of which there are about 40 each year across the country. And now through these Rising Star Engagement Awards, of which there are 34. And the aim here is to fund and to sponsor people who have ideas about the ways in which different disciplines may interact with one another and the ways in which we can get a richer understanding of all sorts of problems if we look at them in an interdisciplinary way. So, for instance, one of the pieces of work that's being funded under this heading is on the shadow economy and the problem of human trafficking, which is an enormous problem. It is a huge stain on our society and other societies that there is vast human trafficking, even in the city of York, which is thought of as genteel and probably is genteel by many standards. Just last week, 3 nail bars closed down because they're run by people who get their labour through the trafficking of individuals. It's not, perhaps those problems aren't soluble at all, but if they're soluble, it won't be through individual scholars working in individual ways. It will be through an interrelationship between different disciplines. And a second, it's on healthcare and the market. A second of these awards was given for work on healthcare and the market, where again, the notion of what counts as good health, as well-being, is problematic. The way in which that can be funded, supported, encouraged, isn't something that can be answered straight off by a single person working in a discipline. So the aim of these awards generally is to support interdisciplinary research of a sort of different, creative kind. And I was immensely pleased when this particular project was funded. And I very much look forward to talking about this with people over the next few days. I'll wind up now, but just one last thing. I have left, just in the foyer there, in the coffee room, I've left some little postcards which enable you to sign up online to get mail from the British Academy, which will tell you about events and tell you about the activities of the Academy, and will also tell you about funding opportunities as they come up. And I urge you to put in, because there is money there, and it's to be used for people like yourselves, younger people, to do new and different things. So thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Sue.
Okay.